this computer. Right, so I'm just going to roll this out, guys. Like I said, about 3 or 4 minutes. Just check this out and have a good listen.
Not casually, not as a wish, but as a commitment. A commitment that the financial story I had inherited would not be the one I passed forward, because every family carries a pattern, whether it is recognized or not. And if you do not decide to change it, you will continue it. I began to shift my thinking away from survival. Survival focuses on today. It asks, how do I get through this moment? But legacy thinking asks a different question. It asks, what am I building that will remain when I am no longer here? And that question changes everything. Because when you think in terms of legacy, your decisions begin to stretch beyond immediate comfort. You begin to consider not just what benefits you now, but what builds something for the future. And that kind of thinking requires intention. So I set a long-term goal, not something small, not something temporary, but something that extended beyond my own lifetime. Because if your goals only serve you, they end with you. But if your goals are designed to outlive you, your actions begin to carry greater purpose. And then I committed to consistent action, not dramatic action, not occasional bursts of effort, but steady, disciplined movement forward. Because a decision without action is only an idea, but a decision followed by action becomes direction. There were days when progress felt slow, when results were not visible, when it seemed like very little was changing, but I stayed with the decision. Because once you decide clearly, you do not keep reconsidering, you keep building. And over time, something begins to shift, not all at once, but gradually. Your thinking aligns with your purpose, your actions align with your thinking, and your results begin to follow your actions. Because in the end, wealth does not begin when you have money. It begins the moment you decide that your direction will be different from where you started. Let me take you a little deeper. Because once a decision is made, the next step is not building, it is clearing. And most people try to build a new financial future on top of old habits, old beliefs, and old patterns. But you cannot build something strong on a foundation that keeps repeating the same results. I learned over time that many of the financial behaviors we carry are not entirely our own. They are inherited, not always through instruction, but through observation. The way money was talked about, the way it was handled, the way it was spent or avoided, these patterns quietly shape your thinking long before you question them. There was a stage where I began to recognize this in my own life. Certain decisions felt natural. But when I looked closely, they were not intentional, they were familiar. And familiarity can be dangerous when it is built on patterns that do not lead to progress. That is when I understood something important. If you do not break the cycle, you will continue the cycle. And if you continue the cycle, you cannot expect a different outcome. So I began to examine my beliefs about money. Not what I said about it, but what I truly believed. Because beliefs influence decisions, and decisions shape results. If you believe money is difficult to manage, you will avoid managing it. If you believe wealth is out of reach, you will not act in ways that build it. I had to challenge those beliefs, not all at once, but gradually, replacing limitation with possibility and assumption with understanding. Because you cannot build a different life while holding on to the same thinking that created the current one. Then I turned my attention to habits. Overspending, lack of saving, reacting instead of planning. These were not isolated mistakes. They were repeated behaviors.
Right, I'm going to stop it there, guys.
And repeated behaviors create predictable outcomes. So I made a conscious effort to stop.
There we go. So I'm going to share that in the chat, and you can watch it in your own time. And if you're new to this call, you might be looking at that thinking, what is going on here? What's that weird voiceover going? But I dived into personal development years ago, And the reason I like to share it whenever I come on these calls and share it in the group and the community, if you're part of our community, you'll see that I drop the odd bits in there. The things that are said in there are so important. I just wrote a few more notes down there while I'm listening to it. Staying with the process and keeping with it, because trading is such an emotional game. Now, if you're brand new to this, you need to get ready for the roller coaster. If you are somebody that's in with us already, depending where you are in your journey, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And hopefully you understand why I constantly talk about personal development and why we dive into things like that. Because getting your mindset right for trading is the only way you're going to have success. If you're not willing to work on your mindset and personal development, then it's going to be a shitstorm for you. You're going to have good days, bad days. Your emotions are going to be all over the place. You're going to be angry. You're going to be mad. You're going to be sad. You're going to be ecstatic. And the severity of those emotions are going to go from one end of the spectrum, literally, to the other. So personal development and adopting a different mindset. He talks about it on there. I wrote that down there, breaking the cycle. So if you're somebody that is, looking for new results, looking for something different to show up in your life, you can't just do the same thing. You can't do the same thing. If you've been somebody that's typically got by day to day, repeating the same old cycle, and you're here because you want something different, well, you've got to understand you've got to put a chink in that cycle and you've got to do something different. And personal development, listening to things like that will absolutely put you on the right path. So I'm not just some weirdo preaching some nonsense to you here, guys. I'm telling you this and I'm passionate about it because it changed the entire course of my life. Not from a business standpoint. I had so much baggage during a professional sporting career. I was lucky that I got another crack at the full-time arena. And if it weren't for personal development, I don't know where my life would have gone. So that's why I always like to share a few bits with you, because I know what it did for me. And if it changes one of yours outlook and gives you a positive experience from what we're doing, then that'll do for me. So a couple of things I want to talk about tonight. If you're brand new, then welcome. What I don't want you to come in here thinking about, if you're brand new, is thinking that, oh yeah, I'm just going to go in and chuck some money and I'm going to become, a millionaire overnight. That is absolutely not the case. And one of the downsides, I'm going to talk about some downsides to trading and people's approach and mentality to it, because I see all the stuff online, I see all the stuff on social media, all the fancy stuff, all the flashy stuff, which is great because it shows that somebody's put some work in. But unfortunately, people get shiny object syndrome and they're just attracted to that. So immediately they want instant gratification. And because we're in a time of life where, everything's instant, where we can get a quick dopamine hit, we want the same when we come into something like this. And the reality of it is, for most people, that is not going to happen. So I want you to come into this with realistic expectation, and I want to give it to you real. I don't want to bullshit. I don't want to hype anything up. I don't want to tell you you're going to make a fortune next week, because I don't operate like that. And it's not fair to give you that expectation. What I want to talk to you about tonight is, when you come on board with our community, I am going to hammer you about having rules and discipline in place, because that by doing that, the reason I am doing it is because of my previous experience. I've been involved in trading for about 6-7 years on and off, and I've had some good experiences, bad experiences. I've been up and down, and like the roller coaster thing I was talking to you about before, I've been on the extremities of it, highs and lows of it, and it is painful. So my goal is always to give you guys a good foundation and a good understanding, and hopefully rub off a little bit on you and your mentality of how you're going to approach this. Because I mean, I spoke to a guy today. I think he's just messaged in the chat there, Kev. He made about 10% on his account today, and then went back for more, and then ended up a little bit down. So that is the exact mindset I'm talking about. And I always say this: if you or anybody you know can tell me where I can make 2% a week on my money for just lumping it into somewhere or something, tell me about it. Because all we're looking to do here All I'm personally looking to do here when I'm trading is take 2 to 5% per day from the market. If I do a little bit more, great, but I typically have a cutoff at 5%. So when you think about that from a monetary value, depending on your account size, will determine whether that's going to give you the dopamine hit that you want or not. And what you can find is if you're focused on the monetary value and not the percentage growth, it's a minefield because you end up chasing. You start with a £300 account and you want to be at £600 by tomorrow. That's 100% growth. And you're not getting that anywhere. You're not getting that growth anywhere in the world on your money, unless you can do a bit of insider trading with these corrupt rats at the top of the system that are all, tipping each other off and shafting the little guys like me and you. So unless you've got a friend like that, you are not making that kind of money on your money. So 2 to 5% a day is staggering. It's amazing. So we need to get that mindset when you're coming into this, that right, if I can make 2 to 5% on my money a day, possibly 10% a week to 25% a week, that is going to be phenomenal for me. And if you come in with that expectation from day one, the process and the journey is going to be more enjoyable for you, because we're going to talk about some rules tonight, what are worth considering. I'm not here to tell you, you must do this, you must do that. I'm just here to give you some guidance and information based on my own previous experiences and the knowledge that I've acquired over this 6 or 7 year journey that I've been on. Because I don't want you to go through the shit I went through, where you've had to lose money to then come back and take a bit of time off and come back with a different mindset and try again. And before you know it, you're chasing your tail again. So I don't want you to go through the rigmarole I've been through. And this is why I bang on about the personal development stuff as well, because that will help you with your frame of mind and your mindset. All right, so that's some really, really important stuff. Now, for the new people in the room, I'm going to share a couple of bits with you now, and I'm going to show you what our community looks like when you start trading with us. So I'm going to give you a little snippet, a little glance of what we do. So let me screen share this. So we operate through Telegram, right? Don't ask me why I didn't set the system up, but we operate through Telegram. So this group here is called the Gold Standard Group. And in the Gold Standard Group, we get information sent to us. And this is known as a signal. We get sent a signal to buy now. We're trading gold versus the US dollar. All right. So gold at the moment is sitting somewhere around $4,500 to $5,000 in price. We're just looking to take little bits out of the market. Now we have a couple of apps, which I'll show you in a second, actually, what we're going to need to get started with us. And all we're going to do is we're going to get a notification on Telegram in the Gold Standard Group or the Gold Scalping and Analysis Group, which is this one. We're going to get a notification with some instruction, and we're going to act on that instruction using a separate app. The other app we're going to use is called MetaTrader 5. So today, here's an example in the scalping group. Sell zone now, we're looking to sell between 5686 and 5690. So we're looking for the price to be in that region, and then we're going to execute a sell in the market. And then these are the targets that we're looking for: 4683, 4680. And SL stands for stop loss or invalid. And that would be where you protect your capital, because we're all about protecting and preserving our capital. Can we lose money doing this? Absolutely we can. But the goal is to be disciplined and have the right mentality and mindset where we're just pinching money out of the market. So today's stats have just come in, actually. 18 zones have been sent, 17 have been winners, and 1 has failed. I think I actually got on the failed one earlier on today. And then in the Gold Standard Group, we have received today 5 trades. 3 have been winners, 1 has been a stop loss, and 1 has been a break even. Now, these results may not align totally with your results, because you might have tried holding onto the trade for too long. You might have entered at the wrong time, or when the trade had already made a move. So you might find yourself sometimes taking losses when we've been on a winning day. And we want to help you and coach you and guide you around that by giving you a better understanding. And at the moment, my community is small enough with Charlie's Trade House. I think we sat at 362 subscribers. So that is a small enough community at the moment for me to come and help you guys on a one-to-one basis. So if you are somebody that is in that particular, if you're not in my community, by the way, and you've come via somebody else's community, you need to speak to that person. All right, because we've got a couple of guys within our community who are operating their own groups. And if you've come through one of those, go back to that person. All right, don't come to me, go to that person. They will help you if they brought you into this call. So the goal really is to pinch money out of the markets by following instruction. Now, when you first get started, it can be a bit of a faff around because there's a couple of things that, let me just show you the apps that you're going to need to download first and foremost. Where are we? So the apps that you are going to need to get started with us are the following. You'll see these on your screen now, and you can print screen so you can make sure you're good to download these apps. All right, so they're the apps that you're going to need. You've got Telegram, MetaTrader 5, Vantage is the broker that we use, and then you've got a Google Authenticator, which you may need when you're looking to withdraw your money as an extra layer of security. And then we've got TradingView. So TradingView is basically for when we want to be a little bit more advanced and we might want to start looking at the charts. And I'll just give you a quick look at the charts now to see how this looks. Again, if you're brand new, it just looks like squiggly lines. But once you get your head around it, you will begin to understand a little bit about it. So this is how the charts look. This is how the charts look. So it looks like, you know, if you're brand new to this, you're like, what the bloody hell is this? It's all squiggly lines. Now, we've got experts who are showing us, who are giving us instruction based on marking up the charts and the direction that the market's looking to go. So I'm not going to dive into all that and confuse you tonight, but that is TradingView and it's worth getting. And we are trading gold versus the US dollar. The symbol for gold is XAU USD. All right, so that's something else useful for you to know if you are new. Now, the other things I want to share with you tonight and give you a really good understanding of is, first of all, some rules. Now, these rules are my personal rules. You might agree with them, you might disagree with them, you might just use them as a bit of a guide for yourself, or you might actually adopt these rules and run with them yourself. Because having rules in trading is going to be really important for you if you want success. If you want to come in and gamble and dick about and lose money, win money, and be on that roller coaster what I talked about, then you can ignore this. But I highly, highly recommend having some rules. These are my personal core trading rules. So rule number one, because we want to protect as capital, we don't want to be blowing accounts. We want to protect our money at all costs. So as soon as we enter a trade, the first thing we're going to do is put a stop loss in place. The stop loss is designed to protect your capital. I understand, again, if you're brand new, that this might seem a little bit, what's a stop loss? How do I do this? This will all unfold. We've got tutorial videos and a whole bunch of other stuff that you can watch beyond this call tonight. I'm just going to give you a brief overview. So we never enter a trade without a stop loss. That's my personal rule number one. I have been stung in the past by not adhering to this rule for quite a significant amount of money in the space of half an hour, 700 quid to be precise. Around January, February time, I entered a trade and I forgot to put a stop loss in while I was filling the car up, and I came back and I were in the red massive because price absolutely tanked. So I ended up losing a lot of money because I entered without a stop loss, just not lack of concentration. All right, so entering without a stop loss is very, very dangerous. So I always recommend placing 100, as soon as you press buy or sell, then immediately put 100 pip stop loss in, and then go back and see what the instruction is from the trader. Because typically, because gold moves so fast, we will get buy now, sell now, and then the instruction will come afterwards in terms of the parameters that we're looking to put in. So that'll be a stop loss and the targets. All right, so never enter without a stop loss. If you find yourself in a negative attitude, you've woke up on the wrong side of bed, you've had an argument with yourself, you've stubbed your toe, you know, the kids have wound, whatever it is, if you find yourself in a poor frame of mind, swerve the trading. Because it comes back to that mindset stuff again, the personal development stuff. And this is why putting all the positive stuff in your mind is so important, because you will trade in a much better state and frame of mind. If you're in a negative frame of mind and you take a little loss, then you might well be pissed off and angry that you want to go back and try and figure it out and chase that money back yourself. And before you know it, you're digging yourself a bigger hole into your capital and you're causing yourself more harm than good. All right. So if you find yourself in that mental state, what's not overly great for you, don't trade. The third thing is to have a percentage target per day. Like I said, for me, it's 2 to 5% a day. If I hit 5%, I'm out. If I sit, around 2, I'm happy. I think today I did about 1.5%. So I'm happy with that. If I'm making percentage growth, then I'm making percentage growth. But my cutoff is 5%. And what you will find here is this. If you get to a number that you're happy with, 5%, 6%, 2%, whatever it is, and then you try and go back again, that is typically when the market will pull down your pants and give you backside a good tanning. It's just got a real habit of doing that. It's happened to me before. I've made enough for the day. I've been satisfied, but I've gone back for another nibble for fear of missing out, and then I've been smacked. So if you hit a certain percentage growth that you're happy with and that are in your rules, just turn the app on mute, turn the Telegram channel on mute, and just don't trade. And then the same goes for stop loss. Now, this is even more important because for me, 5%, if I lose 5% in a day, the app is getting put on mute because I don't want the ping, fear of missing out and then be tempted to jump back in. I don't want it. So if I lose 5% in a day, I'm out and I'm stopping for the day and I'll come back the next day because the market will always offer us opportunity. And we've got some traders in our corner whose coattails we're swinging off who are absolutely killing it in terms of the success rate. They're running at around about an 85% success rate this side of Christmas. So adhering to the rules is so important. Now, the other things I wanted to share with you tonight are getting started. We all need to know how to get started. So this is for the new people in particular. I'm going to come on to some other bits at the end, guys. So if you've seen this already, obviously you don't need to pay too much attention at the moment. But typically this is going to be for the new people. So whatever community group you're in, you will have a link at the top of the group. It'll look like mine here, pinned message. And then you're going to click on join free. And then when you press join free, it's going to bring you to a support vault. And this is going to be like an automated channel now. So you'll get a welcome message from whoever it is whose group you're in. You'll get asked to leave your name and so on, and away you go. Email address, you'll get some more information, next steps, why is it free? The why is it free is a great question. So the reason you get access to all this for free, there's no subscription, there's no monthly fee, there's no contracts, there's no nothing. You simply use our broker, and on the back of that, our broker will pay us a commission for building a community and using them as a broker, right? Now, the other thing I always get, well, not always, but occasionally get asked is, so you're making money when we lose money? And the answer to that question, frankly, is yes. However, it's more in our interest that you win, because if you win, you keep taking trades and you stay with the community. So our goal is for you to win every single time. And we have amazing traders who are running, well, you've seen the results today. The results today, 3 from 5, 1 break even. And then on a gold scalping group, we've gone 18 zones, 17 winning zones. So we want you to win. And if you adhere to rules and have the right mindset and discipline, you will be more successful than not. All right. And it's within our interest that you keep winning. So you don't have to pay any subscriptions because the broker is going to take care of us. Now, the last little bit I want to share with you tonight, guys, because I don't want to take all your time, is I want to talk to you about risk management. And this is the most important part of trading. Because without risk management and without understanding a couple of things, it's going to be a rough ride for you, and you don't want to have to find out the hard way, like unfortunately some people have done, myself as well included in the past. So this is why I put this together. So first of all, you need to understand a couple of things. What is a pip? Right, this is very basic stuff, so I'm going to whiz through it, and then there's more videos for you to watch on this stuff. So a pip is basically a point in the market when the price moves up or down, right? So 10 pips is the equivalent of $1. And the reason the term pips is important is because when we take a trade, the terminology, when we're learning about trading, terminology, pips is a frequent terminology language lingo that you're going to hear. So 10 pips is the equivalent of $1. So if the price moves down $1, then it's gone down 10 pips. If it goes up $1, it's gone up 10 pips. And like I said to you before, typically we're looking at 100 pip stop loss, 80 to 100 pip stop loss on every trade that we're taking. So that then rolls over into this next part of how do I calculate my risk? Well, if you want to risk $5 on a trade, in other words, if you're willing to risk $5, lose $5, because that's the reality of it, you can lose it. If I'm willing to lose $5 on a trade, then on a 50 pip stop loss, I'm going to be looking at a 0.01 lot size. Right, so again, the lot size is another bit of terminology and language that you will learn more about as you work your way through the videos that we'll share with you when you're good to go. So 100 pips, that now means that your risk is going to be $10 on a 0.01 lot size. And as that lot size increases, 0.02, then you're just doubling. So 50 pip stop loss now becomes a $10 risk. 100 pip stop loss on a 0.02 now becomes a $20 risk. So understanding this equation is really, really important, because once you master this, every time you enter the market to take a trade, you know exactly what is at stake and what you can potentially lose, because we can lose money. That's the reality of it, guys. We can lose money. All right, so that's that part. And then there's just a little compound plan here, what I wanted to show you, based on a £500 account. And again, these numbers, this is a hypothetical example. This is not going to pan out to the exact penny every time. But if you were to grow your account by 2% a day, starting with £500, and don't forget what I said at the beginning, 2% on your money, where else are you getting that? You're not getting it in your bank. I don't know where else you're going to get 2% on your money. So 2% a day is a staggering amount of money. So if you can make 2% a day over 60 consecutive trading days, you would be looking at £1,640. All right, that's a huge growth on your account just based on 2% a day. Right? Is it going to work out exactly 2% a day? No. But this is just a hypothetical example to show you what is possible. Last week, I think I did about 10%, which is a mega week. Again, you're not getting nowhere, you're not getting your money, you're not getting that on your money anywhere else. So if we can do 2% a day, that's what you can look at achieving. On 5% a day, a bit more obviously a bigger percentage growth, then that money just gets crazy. Almost 9.5 grand in 60 days off 500 quid. So having the mindset and the discipline of not being greedy, not trying to double your account on day one, not trying to go from 500 quid to £1,000 in your first couple of days, and being unrealistic. If we just adhere to the correct risk management and have patience and discipline and the right mindset, then we're going to compound our account, and we can be assured in, a couple of months' time that the account is going to grow, as long as we've been disciplined and we've stuck to some rules. If we want to come in and start being idiots and gambling, over leveraging, trying to do it by ourselves, then that is typically when you're going to find yourself up shit creek without a paddle and losing your money. And we don't want people to do that. So the purpose of this call tonight is to let you know, as a new person in particular, or somebody that's already on the roller coaster with us, keeping your emotions and your discipline in check and having rules in place is going to make this ride way more smoother for you than not. If you come in here and dump some money into the account and you just start slinging mud at the wall, hoping that it's going to work out for you, over leveraging, over risking, over trading, gambling, you will eventually get caught. You might have some luck at the beginning because the traders are pretty accurate. You might have some luck at the beginning, but I can guarantee you, if you continue in that cycle, you will eventually get caught out, and it'll hurt and it'll be painful and it'll ruin the whole experience for you. So that's all I've got for you tonight, guys, in terms of what we do and how we get started and what we're looking to achieve in this community. We're not looking for overnight millionaires. We're not looking to double our account in the next couple of days. We're looking for consistent, realistic growth with the right mindset and right rules and discipline in place. Because once you've nailed that and you've got that in place, it's going to be a game changer for you. I can promise you guys, because since the beginning of this year, I've had all that in place and I've had my best ever run in trading. All right. And it can happen. There's no reason why it can't happen for you, but you've just got to be willing to flip your mindset. And I promise you this, the personal development stuff, if you've never done it before, as weird as it might seem at the beginning, because it's different, but you're here obviously because you want something different, that means you've got to do something different. All right. But once you get your head into that stuff, it's going to make you mentally stronger, more resilient mentally, and it's going to put you in. I mean, listening to some of that stuff just puts me in a great mood. I do it every single morning. And that sets me off to a good start to the day. And that's why I'm way more balanced and mellow when it comes to trading now. If I take a loss, so what? Big deal, no big deal. Does it hurt? Yes, but I deal with it much better because I'm in a better frame of mind, and that's what I really, really want to encourage and help you guys with. So I'm going to cut the recording there, guys. If you've watched this back on record, somebody sent you the link. Go back to that person. They'll tell you how to get started. If you're part of my community already, you can click join free in the Telegram community group and work your way through the getting started process. And if you need to speak to me or need any direct help one-to-one, reach out to me. Like I said at the beginning of the call, the community is still relatively small at the moment, and I have got the time and availability to help you, and I want to help you. I'm not building a community just hoping that people are going to figure it out themselves. I want you to get off to a better start than I did when I first started, so you can have success in the early stages rather than having to go through some pain like I have done in the past as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Go back to the person that sent you this link or hit the join free in the Telegram and get yourself started.